idolatry itself is kind of the worship of like an image, an object, or any kind of thing as opposed to the worship of God or Jesus. And so if you think about it, it's really the worship of a false idol, which is kind of is a basic principle, I guess, of the Christian foundation. You know, it's putting something instead of worshiping God like we should. It's putting something kind of above Him, whereas we're kind of supposed to see how God created everything and is underneath it. So for myself, you know, I play a lot of sports and I'm pretty active, and it's kind of hard to think, you know, of worshiping sports, because it's not like I go home and pray and I do the football God. I don't have like a secret shrine in my closet, you know, dedicated to like something like that. But if you kind of think about it, like, you know, for a lot of us, you know, we put in hours a day like into sports, you know, activities like that, whereas we might only put in 10, 15 minutes to God into that. So in proportion to like, when you're kind of thinking of like importance in your life, it is kind of it's a funny thing how we kind of invest a lot more time sometimes in the things that we don't necessarily feel are as important. And on a further basis, like if you look at even in the whole world and like sports, the impact on our globe is pretty incredible, because like entire sections of our daily newspapers, you know, magazines, things like that are dedicated to sports, and cable channels broadcast games every day, every year. The public at large is pretty ecstatic and heap adoration upon our sports heroes. So if you think about it, like adults and children will spend hours, even days, waiting outside line to get tickets for like sporting events or to get autographs before it starts, things like that. You know, like when was the last time you spent more than 5 minutes waiting to talk to God, I guess. But sports also fuel our nation's economy. So for example, CBS paid the NCAA $6 billion for the rights to televise sporting events during March Madness, and billions of dollars are raised in advertising revenues due to the desire of the masses to watch sports. So sports are really like, you know, it's a pretty powerful concept. I mean, the top sports figures, so like pro athletes, earn millions of dollars per year because people want to watch them. And furthermore, they get paid even more to endorse commercial products like, you know, shoes, gum, anything. So basically, professional and college sports have become, for a lot of people, not a celebration of God's creation, but the purpose of life and the measure of meaning itself. And this is kind of the main point where sports kind of takes over the focus point of your life, and that's really what the problem with sports, the idolatry of sports is. Now, on a more individual basis, you can kind of break the idolatry of sports into kind of like two categories. So first of all, you have it when you're actually like in your brain, you put the importance of sports, and see, we're specializing on sports tonight, but this kind of extends to other areas of your life too. It's not just sports, but it's putting in like, you know, friends, family, shopping, school, all of these different aspects are things that should revolve around like what is most important in your life, which, you know, as Christians is God and Jesus, and like, you know, what that you really love is. So yeah, so the first, I can kind of mention how you can kind of break it up. So the first type would be kind of actually placing, like, thinking, okay, you know, sports is the top priority in my life, everything else should revolve around that. And this is kind of like the first thing we have to talk about, because if you have the mindset that, you know, something else in your life is the most important, you're never going to be able to, you're never really going to want to change your life around to make time for what really is the most important. So you kind of come to terms with, you know, okay, what do I think is most important in my life? Like, is like the amount of time and the effort that I'm putting into sports, whatever the activity may be, you know, really in proportion with how important I think it is or how like, fulfilling it is for my overall life. Now, you know, and it can kind of be hard to tell where that line is, I guess, because, you know, for many people, they find God through sports, you know. And sports definitely isn't like a bad thing. There's a fine line between like a healthy participation and then like an obsession, I guess. But the best way to kind of find that is really to just spend some time thinking, you know, like for yourself, like what do you really feel, pray with God, and if you need to, you know, don't feel bad about asking a core member, like anyone here, like somehow, you know, just to talk about it, because it might be something that you can really put some thought into. Now, for a lot of us though, it's not, like we don't really think of sports or activities in that way, it's just more of like a time commitment sort of thing. So I know for myself, especially, like I pour hours and hours into sports and activities like that sometimes. And so I guess another kind of central thing that kind of comes up is, you know, okay, well maybe you do still think that God and like church, things like that are the most important, but how are you going to fit time in for those things when you have all these other activities and things going on in your life which are, you know, pretty important? And that's kind of where it kind of comes down to, okay, you know, again, prioritizing your time, finding out, and if it, you know, sometimes it comes down to it, you know, it's finding 5 minutes, like when you get up, or like when you're brushing your teeth or something to pray, you know, maybe that's what it takes. But if you're at a point where like you're struggling to fit in time for things that are most important, you've got to kind of sit down and, you know, take some time to reflect on your life, I think. So.